Ginseng. We're talking about the Siberian ginseng. They changed the name to the Latin because there's so many different types of ginseng out there. Eleuthero is the Russian or the Siberian ginseng that I'm going to talk about, and I will touch on wild American ginseng and Korean ginseng because they're all ginsengs, just like all potatoes are potatoes, but they have slightly different properties. So in the case of Siberian ginseng, according to Dr. Scala, in his research paper number 18, he said that it will take and treat diabetes. He also says, I'm reading from this because I haven't used this in a long time, from Dr. Scala. By the way, he was the doctor at the time to the American, they just had it, where everybody goes over in Russia for the Olympic, no, not Olympic, was it the Olympics? Okay. He was the doctor for them, and so he was very well known, very well respected, and I got a lot of this information from him. The reason I was able to get a lot of it, he heard me lecture, like I am to you right now at Nature Sunshine. He was so impressed with my lecture, even with all of his degrees, he said, I want you to come with me. I'm giving a couple lectures. I want you to cover some of these herbs. And I did, and so in between we would be talking, and I would get some of these papers, some of this information from him. It's used to normalize blood pressure. I'm going to read something here. Recently, research has found that stress accelerates the aging process. That's why. So we've got the anti-aging up there. Sometimes called a tonic herb. It restores energy to the various organs and systems of the body. The Soviets used ginseng in their space program when they found that their cosmonauts were experiencing certain effects from the stresses of weightlessness, such as rapid heartbeat, high blood pressure, mental anxiety, and nervous disorders. That's from the book Science of Herbal Medicine, page 12. A couple of things that are of interest to you here. Again, people are always looking at price. Nature Sunshine never looks at price. It's always what is going to work, and if it doesn't measure up, you don't get it. In the case of ginseng, well, let me ask a question. Any of you gardeners out here? Even a little bit? Okay. How long does it take to grow a carrot, a potato, or peas, or beans? Go ahead.
Here in green, my carrots take about 2 months.
2 months. That is about the average. Yeah, from seed. That's very, very good. 2 months. Some things might take 3 months. Some things like lettuce you might get in a month.
Right.
All right? So as a gardener, what you want to do is plant, and you have a rotation. And so you plant something that takes 1 month. When that finishes, maybe plant it in April with the lettuce. When it finishes harvesting, you might plant your beans, which may take 2 months. And you get 2 or 3 crops out of that same row. How long does it take to grow ginseng? Anybody want to guess?
6 months.
6 months. But we have a much shorter growing season than that. But you're so far off, it's not even close. Anybody else want to try?
Year.
A year. That's more like it. But we couldn't grow it up here too well, although it does grow up here. It actually hibernates in the winter and then it comes back. But how long before you can harvest it?
18 months.
Well, you're trying hard. So I'm not going to draw it out too much. From my actual notes on that one, it takes approximately 7 years. Some ginsengs, 12 years. So what happens is this. That little thing that you call ginseng has to be in the ground for 7 or more years. The longer it's in, the bigger it gets. Ginseng is called an adaptogenic herb. You can get from the word, it means it can do all kinds of different things. The reason, it's in the soil longer. It's pulling from the soil. It's pulling from the air. It's pulling from the water. It's pulling from the sun. And it gets almost every nutrient in high amounts. And there's only 7 herbs in the world that are called adaptogenic. Part of the reason is this, but I'm using it to show why it could be more expensive than other things. If you're a farmer and depending upon your garden to supply you with money, and it's going to be there for 7 years, you're going to charge 7 times as much as you would for your carrots, because that's how long it took. So it's anti-stress, anti-aging, it's male hormones, it's endurance. It does all kinds of different things.
Are those all the 3 ginsengs?
Ginseng is ginseng no matter what. This is the least expensive, and it's the best for anti-aging and anti-stress. If you wanted for male hormones, which you can give to a woman also, the male hormone, the testosterone, is what gives you more drive. It gets things going. All right? So it's called an aphrodisiac. That's your wild American ginseng. In between the Siberian ginseng and the wild American is the Korean. So that's where you cover all your, and we sell all of them. So depending upon what you need it for, you would know which one that you wanted.
Are all 3 adaptogenic?
Yes. All 3 take 7 years to grow. And so that's a very, very good thing. From Dr. Scala, I'm going to read it here. Medical researcher, author. Okay, asked me to go with him. I got ahead of myself. Told me in 1995 study that Siberian ginseng was exceptionally good for diabetes. I've never seen that in the books. He also mentioned a 20-year study, which ended in 1995, that showed that Siberian ginseng lowered cancer. Just a couple of quotes from a guy who knows a lot more than me, dealing with something that I was familiar with.